He's a fresh-faced, wet behind-the-ears rookie. His reputation does precede him, however. He won the 1979 PGA Championship, the 1981 U.S. Open, one of the greatest internationalists ever to play the game, and he's the current captain of the President's Cup team. His name, David Graham. Meet him tonight on Golf Talk Live. The following is an encore presentation of Golf Talk Live. Welcome to Golf Talk Live. I'm Peter Kessler. A man's relationship with his father can shape a son's actions long after he leaves home and long after fathers pass away. Arnold Palmer still cries for his dad, still talks about silent car rides home from the golf course following tournaments that he won after being caught throwing clubs in anger by his father. Gene Sarazen's father thought golf was a frivolity, and it splintered their closeness and made Gene a hardened competitor with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove to the world. Old and young Tom Morris each won the British Open 4 times, but it was their rounds together that they treasured most until young Tom died of a broken heart at the age of 24. David Graham was relegated to a back room and shunned by his father when David announced he was leaving school to play the game he loves. It contributed to David's insecurity. It led to an obsessiveness to practice constantly, perhaps as part of David's quest to please his father and prove him wrong. David is, of course, today an incredible father in his own right, and more than his successes as a player and architect and leader, his enduring and most treasured legacy may be that as a great family man and successful father. When David Graham decided to leave school at age 16 to follow his dream as a professional golfer, his father said he would never speak to David again. And he didn't. He didn't get to see his son make his dreams come true. Like Graham's brilliant win at the '79 PGA at Oakland Hills, or his domination of Merion Golf Club in the final round en route to winning the 1981 Open. Graham won on the tour's toughest courses, Muirfield Village, Firestone North, and Westchester Country Club. He's a critically acclaimed and successful golf course architect, and he now focuses on his newest mission, success on the Senior PGA Tour. Like everything else he's ever done, he gives it full concentration, maximum effort, and strong, purposeful golf shots from that elegant, dignified swing. It's a pleasure to have you here, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Peter. Welcome.
I understand that you're a man who never likes to waste time, that while you were in town today waiting to do this evening's show, you worked your way out to the Ledbetter Academy to fine-tune a couple of things.
Well, as you know, I started the senior tour in Birmingham, Alabama 2 weeks ago, and I'd been working with David for about the last 3 months. So I took today and went out and hit a bunch of balls and had my swing filmed again, and we made comparisons between where I was about 3 months ago and where I am today. So there's a lot of improvement, but I've never really been obsessed with all the technical stuff that's available to the players now. But it's just incredible. I mean, they had split screen and slow motion, and you can see every little movement in your swing. So I find it more and more interesting that the technology is so good. If you look at the younger players coming in the game, well, not the younger players, but if you look at a player like a Faldo, who's come into the game and who really is obsessed with perfection mechanically, you can now obtain it through watching what you're doing on video.
And based on his record the last 10 years, you'd think he's close to achieving it.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody's played the game more precisely and or been more dedicated to it. Maybe with the exception, of course, of Greg Norman, but Faldo and Norman, I think, are by far the 2 most dedicated players that we've seen in the last 10 or 12 years.
Given how you feel about Faldo's work, and given how well you know Norman, played with him in consecutive Dunhill Cups, followed his career, a native Australian like yourself. How do you account for Greg's sort of fourth round inconsistency? He can be brilliant, as he was at Royal St. George's a couple of years ago when he won the Open with a 64, or he can do what he did at Augusta, and Faldo keeps doing what he did at Augusta.
Well, I think I wouldn't even be presumptuous enough to try and analyze Greg's situation. I think a lot of other people have done it, and I think some of them have been extremely unfair. I mean, Greg Norman, if you look in the last 10 years, has been the #1 player in the world. I mean, it may be time that we give this guy a little slack. I mean, he's won 76 or 77 golf tournaments. We keep measuring him by the fact that he hasn't won a major championship on U.S. soil, and we're not really looking at his overall record in the last 15 years as a player. I know one thing, I'm glad that never happened to me in my career. I've seen it happen to others, and they've been devastated. Norman just seems to have a compassion for coming back for more, no matter what happens to him. And I give him 100% marks for that. I mean, he's in a position now where he could just say, I'm not going to take any more, but he keeps coming back and he keeps coming back. And some people, I believe, are destined to win certain tournaments, and some are not, no matter how committed they are.
Do you think he gets in his own way? Do you think he has the mental toughness that Jack and Arnold and that you exhibited in your prime?
Oh, I think he does. I mean, he's won too many times not to have that. It's just obviously when he gets either to a U.S. Open or a Masters tournament, something happens. I mean, the first 3 rounds I thought he played at Augusta this year were brilliant. But you've also got to remember, and I think Nick Faldo said it the best, he said, I've won the Masters, but he said, no one will ever talk about my 67. If you look at a fatal blow in a boxing match, there was no more fatal a blow than Faldo hitting it on the green at number 12, being first on the tee.
Right. They were tied at that point.
I mean, that was just a knockout punch.
And it was a great shot, and Greg tried to duplicate it, and where you really don't want to go with that pin, you would know better, but that's not a place you aim at, is it?
Well, I think Faldo's last round at Augusta was maybe one of the best rounds of golf ever played in the history of the game. I mean, that course was so difficult. The greens were so fast. And I watched most of the round, and the only shot that finished up in the bunker was his second shot at number 5, where he played 30 feet to the left of the flagstick. And I mean, if the bunker had been 6 inches away, he'd have stayed on the green. So I mean, that would have then been considered a perfect round of golf. But I mean, it was an incredible performance. I mean, you have to give Faldo credit.
And number 5 at Augusta National is one of the hardest par 4s anywhere in the world, isn't it?
I don't think there's an easy hole on that golf course, period.
Now, I didn't wish you a happy birthday, belated happy 50th birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a baby again.
Yeah, so they say.
Been on playing the last 2 weeks, of course, covered by the Golf Channel the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
What was toughest, the getting it right physically or getting it right mentally and intellectually?
Oh, I think physically, I'm in very good shape. I've taken care of myself. I mean, I watch what I eat and I work out, and I still love to walk when I play and everything. I'm not carrying any excess weight, so I feel like I'm in good shape. I think the senior tour is fabulous. I kept hearing a lot of people say, well, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. I haven't really set any major goals for myself on the senior tour. I do know one thing that I've learned in the last 2 weeks. These guys are good. I mean, they are really good. Weiskopf's 11 under par at the tournament at Quicksilver was fabulous golf. I mean, the greens were not in good condition. The greens were very undulating, very difficult to putt. Wind 2 of the 3 days up to 20 miles an hour. It was not a short golf course, about 6,800 yards. And he shot 11 under par in 3 days, and that was fabulous. I think the level out there is incredible. I mean, you look at 10, 11, 12, 13 under par winning every week over 3 rounds of golf.
And how about Arnold getting off to a good start?
Oh, Arnold's 69 the first day was fabulous.
Unbelievable.
Fabulous. Well, I had the good fortune to play my very first senior official first round with Arnold. And I tell you, no one still drives the ball straighter.
Right.
no one still hits the iron shots as good as he does. He's the greatest. He is the greatest. He was so nice to me. We had a wonderful day. It was kind of like score was irrelevant. You know, let's just go out and have a good time. So
what a great way for you to get back
was wonderful.
into the swing of things, huh?
Well, of course, Arnold and I haven't spent a lot of time together, but now we're spending a lot more time together because of the President's Cup, which is exciting and coming up in September. And he obviously is the captain of the U.S. team, and I've undertaken to do the international team again.
Well, and they've asked you to do it again because it went so well the first time. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with David Graham. You want to talk to him about his career, about the upcoming President's Cup? Call us, 1-800-842-9987. We'll be right back with more Golf Talk Live. Oh, so you're going to dance?
No, I'm not going to dance.
Now,
Two things I'm not allowed to do. One's dance and the other one's sing.
No, so the singing we're going to do
Singing
a little later
is
tonight.
out of the question.
No, Devlin's coming. He's going to play a ukulele. We're going to do a couple of tunes
Have you
together.
ever heard him play the ukulele?
No, but I've heard wonderful things. I heard it's like listening to Jack Benny play the violin, or worse.
Most likely worse.
Now, it's funny, Dev was here not too long ago. We talked about you. We talked about growing up in Australia. He had the kind of home life that if you could sit down and say, here's the childhood I want, his was pretty wonderful in a lot of ways in terms of nurturing, in terms of people caring. Yours was tough. You had a tough dad. Your parents fought. Did the home life or what you perceived to be sort of the unpleasant side of it a factor in driving you deeper into golf as an escape because it can be so all-consuming? Or was that just part of the evolution, the getting deeply into golf, the greatness of the game there for you to take advantage of?
I don't know. Obviously, something drew me to the game. I mean, it wasn't just the fact that I needed to get out of the environment that I was in. I used to ride my bike home from school, and I used to see all these golfers run over to this field in Melbourne and hit balls through what we call the goalpost, which I now call uprights. And I kind of thought that was pretty challenging, so I went and rummaged around and got some left-handed clubs and decided I would go hit some balls. And then we had a little 9-hole golf course that I started going up there and playing on the weekends. And then the gentleman that ran the golf shop became my friend and gave me a job. And I think it was just kind of, I don't know, maybe it was just meant to be that golf and I were supposed to be attached. But I don't think I ever used golf as a means to get away. I think I may have used my upbringing to make me more determined, but I think something just drew me to the game, whether it be the challenge or what, I'm not sure.
When you told your dad that you were going to play the game and it really destroyed significantly the relationship that you had, what happened from that point forward, and did you ever work it out again with him?
No, unfortunately, that never happened. And you know, I don't want you to kind of make it sound like, you know, I had such a terrible life, because it really wasn't that way. I mean, I didn't come from a nice situation, but there are a lot of people that have a lot more difficult times in life than what I had as a youngster. I was lucky that I got into the work environment. I got an assistant club job in a nice private club. I had George Naismith was the head professional. He took very good care of me, kind of became my stepdad and everything, and I just kind of kept getting better and better, but my relationship with my father was, from that point on, it was over.
You also had people who weren't close to you giving you a hard time about your efforts to make it as a golfer. You're not long enough, you don't fade it, you're not a big enough person. Does it give you a sense, that I'm going to prove them all wrong in your single-mindedness devotion to the game?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I am is, one, I'm very stubborn. I know that for a fact. I'm accustomed to doing things my way. Even when I tinker with my golf clubs, you know, I was out working with Mickey on my golf clubs today out at Lake Nona, and I mean, I've got to do it myself, you know. I think it's a disease or something, but I just can't. I mean, if I'd have been a surgeon, I would have tried to operate on myself, you know. But I know I'm very independent. I am very stubborn, and I accept all of that. And I used to be very overly opinionated when I really didn't have the forum, you know. But I mean, it's, if you win a couple of majors and you've got something to say, people listen to you. But before you earn your wings as a player or any other thing that you do, you know, no one really cares what you think. And I was, you know, I think I was frustrated, I was angry, and the best thing that I think I ever did was, after I got married, was come to the United States and basically put that life behind me and start a whole new life here.
Were you shocked when you came here at not getting your card your first time out, given that you were already an international winner?
Well, I just won the World Cup. I mean, I was, Bruce and
With your
I had
buddy
just
Dev.
won by
Right.
19 strokes or something in Buenos Aires, and I thought, well, getting a card's no big deal. But we used to always, we have to make the transition in those days between the small ball and the big ball too. So that was a nightmare. And missing the card was most likely good for me, because it gave me another year of evaluation and going back to the international tour and learning to play a little bit more.
We're going to take a short break. We will be right back with David Graham. If you want to talk to him, give us a call, 1-800-842-9987. We'll be right back. In September of 1994, golf history was made. It was the first time that we would witness the intensive and exciting match play between the Americans and the international players, all of whom were eligible, except for European Ryder Cuppers, for the long-awaited inaugural President's Cup. Although the final standings of 20-12 in favor of the United States doesn't appear close, neither was it indicative of the great shot-making that the tournament had to offer. Reflecting upon the caliber of play, international captain David Graham said the only way he could describe it was unbelievable. And although the President's Cup doesn't yet contain the same excitement of recent Ryder Cups, the heat of competition stirred up some heated emotional battles. Two things are certain. The internationalists want revenge, and match play among world-class players is a joy to watch. Funny how you keep running into the same guys. Hale Irwin was the captain in '94, who of course you beat at the Burma Road course at Wentworth in '76 at the Piccadilly World Match Play on the 38th hole, if I remember correctly.
It was, yeah, in the dark.
That's why there was always some question about where that thing ended.
That's right.
You know, when Phil Jackson sends the Bulls out onto the court, you know, it's a little bit like, well, play well, fellas. It's not like he's got some talented people to work with. These are as good as you can get. When you go tell a guy like Else and Price and Norman to play well, what then becomes the biggest thrill for you as a non-player but involved in all of the proceedings?
Well, I think, I mean, far more than even who wins and who loses. I mean, the first President's Cup was a great experience. I mean, for example, President Ford, I mean, stood on the first tee and was the official starter. I'll never forget going there at first tee time was 8 o'clock, and we couldn't tee off because it was fog. You couldn't see 100 yards. And here's the former President of the United States standing there waiting to shake hands with the players. And this year, of course, President Bush is the honorary chairman. There's a lot of things that go on. President Clinton took both teams to the White House. I mean, there's a lot of nice things that happened.
Great country.
Great country, and most appreciated too, I might add. The President's Cup, I think a lot of things happened. Number one, I think Hale and Irwin and I became much more acquainted with each other. His wife Sally and my wife got along very, very well. We had a lot of, this is not kind of America versus the rest of the world. This is the President's Cup. What have we got to do to make this tournament have some success and some longevity? It was great. I enjoyed it. I mean, getting all the guys and sitting down and having breakfast and trying to figure out who to play with who and all the personalities. I mean, there was a lot associated. It was a lot of fun, but there was also a lot of work.
We're going to go ahead and talk to one of our viewers. We've got Josh calling you from Pennsylvania. How are you tonight, Josh?
It's fine, Peter.
Thanks for calling.
Hi, thanks. David, I have a question for you. Recently, I'm a 12-year-old golfer, and recently I just shot my first 70, a 75.
Wow.
I was wondering, what age did it take you to shoot a 70?
Oh, Josh, I'm not sure I can remember. 70 is a pretty low score. I'm not sure I can remember. I would have been most likely about 17 years of age when I first shot 70. But, boy, how old are you?
12.
12? My goodness gracious me. Whereabouts do you play?
I think Josh has already left us, but he calls in occasionally, and I think his game gets better every single week. We're going to go ahead and talk to Paul, who's calling from Australia. Hello, Paul.
Hello. Thanks for taking my call.
That's a great honor. Thank you for calling.
David, I've got a question for you. I'm just inquiring as to, do you miss playing the Melbourne Sandbelt courses? And also, how did they influence, or did they influence, your golf course architecture?
Well, I do miss playing them, Paul, because, I mean, you've got Kingston Heath, Royal Melbourne, Commonwealth, Metropolitan, Huntingdale. You've got some of the great courses. You've got a lot of Alistair Mackenzie golf courses. I've always been an avid fan of Royal Melbourne, either 18 East Course or West, or even the composite course. I think the green design and the bunkers at Royal Melbourne are second to none anywhere in the world. I do miss playing them because they're great courses, and yes, they have made a major impact on our design philosophies.
You talk a little bit about the bunkering, particularly Alistair Mackenzie's Cape bunkering at Royal Melbourne.
Right.
Norman von Nida was a great name and one of the great teachers and bunker player teachers in your country, not as well known here. Tell us a little bit about Norman and what he meant to you.
Well, Norman really didn't come into my life until about 1980. Norman was not well. I did not grow up as a young protege of Norman's. In fact, Alex Mercer, when I moved to Sydney, was that he really worked on my swing and my grip. And I happened to talk to Norman, and I said, Norman, you know, can you help me work on my game? I said, I want to win a major championship. And he seemed flattered, and he said, well, you know, David, he said, you know, I've worked with a lot of players, he said, but he said, you know, no one's really ever told me that you were interested in having me work for him. And I said, well, I'd like for you to come to the United States as my guest. And he was overwhelmed. And so I brought him to the 1981 Masters. And unfortunately, when he was in Dallas at my house, he got very sick, and I won't go into that, but he fortunately recovered. Took him to the Masters, and we played Tuesday, Wednesday, and through Sunday in the tournament. And Norman watched every shot that I hit, from the practice fairway to the 18 holes. And since that time, we became very good friends. And I played extremely well in the 81 Masters, but then, of course, I won the 81 Open. So it was kind of a few months later, but I really think that Norman played a major part in that.
That's a nice thing to have happen 2 months after you work with a guy. You pick up the Open. I would say that was a good recommendation, and he should use it as a reference. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with David Graham.